So good to be with y'all again. This is what I think about today already. Yeah, yeah, ooh. Let this be an affirmation song for you. When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, something without warning, love, weighs heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world is alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. Oh, a lovely day. Ooh. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, someone out in front of me seems to always know their way. Then I look at you, and the world is alright with me. Yeah. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. Yes, it is. I said it's gonna be a lovely day. Ooh. It's gonna be a lovely day, my Lord. You can decide from the very beginning of your day that you will not give a day to a bad situation. You can decide every single moment to look at yourself in the mirror and say, every time I look at you, then I know that everything's gonna be all right. It comes from the inside out. And we declare a lovely day, a lovely day. Yes, it is. It's gonna be, I said it's gonna be a lovely day. Oh, my, Lord. It's gonna be a lovely day. Woo! Oh, yeah. Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Morning Connection. We are in the midst of our Spirit Expressing season. We're in the midst of this series, The Power of Awakening. Some of you are a part of the book study. Others of you are not. It's all good because we're all tying this in together. We're talking and focusing our attention toward awakening, what awakening is, possibly what it is not. We're spending some time in it because I think it's important to recognize that the whole planet is experiencing a shaking and a quaking and a sifting and an awakening period. So we're talking about the power of awakening. Specifically this week, we are dealing with the solar plexus. Coming up this last week, we were in the sacral chakra. I hope that you took some time to feel good, to feel a sense of pleasure, to find something pleasurable to eat, something that felt good doing, something that brought you joy. The week before that, we were in the root chakra where we were talking about being grounded. So the groundedness is really important. Out of that groundedness, then we can move into a healthy way of showing up in the world in terms of feeling good, using our creativity, using our manifestation skills, conceiving fresh ideas and thoughts. It's in the sacral that you begin to really start to invent the life that you want. And instead of preventing it, you begin to invent the life you want, and you start to live from that place of beauty and joy and happiness, honestly, and feeling good. And we said that it feels good to feel good, and it's good to feel good. It's not bad. So we are dealing with the solar plexus this week. It's the Manipura. It's said differently by different people, but it's Manipura, Manipura, which is located just above the navel near the sternum. So you can't see that space in me right here, but it's basically, if you can touch right where the ribs meet there in the sternum space, you'll feel that place where the solar plexus is. The solar plexus governs physical health, willpower, determination, successful activity. The solar plexus is translated, actually in Sanskrit, Manipura is translated city of jewels. It's in that space. There's this beautiful jewel. It's represented by yellow light, but it governs our personality. It governs our ego. It governs our sense of identity, our personal freedom, choice, authenticity, which is something I talk about regularly, and we're going to talk about again today, talking about authenticity and choice, personal freedom. It is the chakra that essentially could be, you could use the mantra, I can. I can. Reminds me of a scripture in the Christian Bible that says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. I like how it says that there. It doesn't say who, it says which I think is important, which strengthens me. It's the energy of that Christed awareness that's within you, that brings about that willpower, determination, successful action, that place within you that governs your personality, your ego, your identity, and how you identify, your personal freedom, your choice, and authenticity. That is that I can do all things through that Christ nature, that Christ consciousness, which strengthens me, brings me the power that I need to create the life I want. The opposite, though, of I can, the opposite side of that coin, we have to remember, is victimhood or victim mentality. We also find irresponsibility, feelings of helplessness, and all of that leads to an excessive need for control. If you feel helpless and you feel a sense of victimhood, people who are controlling of others are most of the time out of control within their own self. And as a result of that, they try to control other people. So that's where we're at today. We are in the solar plexus. And because of that, I'm going to invite us into a short meditation with the sound of solar plexus. I don't have my sound bowl with me today. I apologize for that. But I have brought that with me by way of music, a pre-recorded music that has a nice hang drum, a little bit of sound of rain, because water is always good for the flexibility, and the sound bowl that matches the frequency of the solar plexus. So take a moment, if you will, right here and right now, to sit up straight, straighten the spine, soften the shoulders. Breathe in deep. And exhale. We're going to receive another deep breath, and what I want us to do is, as we take this other deep breath, I'm going to ask us to breathe into that sternum space, that space where the solar plexus dwells within the body. And imagine yellow sunlight moving into that space. Yeah, the power of the sun is what is represented by the solar plexus. It's that powerful flame that burns within us. It reminds us of our strength, our courage, our confidence, and our power. Preparing to breathe in once again into the solar plexus. Breathe in. Exhale. Letting that sunlight in one more time. Breathe in. exhale. Once again, the focus and attention toward that solar plexus space within the body. In this space, I know that I can do all things through the Christ consciousness that's within me. Through the solar plexus and the power of this particular space of power in my body, I know that I can manifest the life I want. This is the place where manifestation works. And I speak to my inner being and I say, I can, I can, I can. I can. And I'll invite us now into this affirmation, that solar plexus charged with the power, the light, the yellow light of the sun. Here's our affirmation. I am transforming into bliss consciousness, and I am determined to fulfill my life's purpose. I will not allow outside circumstances to determine my way of being in the world. I am transforming into bliss consciousness, and I'm determined to fulfill my life's purpose. I will not allow outside circumstances to determine my way of being in the world. Breathe in. And exhale. And how about one more time? Breathe in. And exhale. You to begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers and maybe stretch a little bit. Start to feel the surface beneath you once again, coming back into the room where you're seated or lying down. Allow yourself to be grateful for this present moment. I'm thankful that I'm here right now. And all of the power that I need to fulfill my destiny is already within me. I activate it now in this solar plexus. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. I'll invite you now to, if you want to, just to kind of stretch a moment, allow yourself to smile. Sometimes coming out of a meditation, you may feel like yawning. All of that's perfect. There's nothing off limits. There's nothing wrong with any of it. I'm going to leave our solar plexus music playing in the background because I want us to keep that tone and that intonation as we move through today's chat. I want to share with you, with keeping the power of awakening and the solar plexus chakra in mind, I want to share with you authenticity, integrity, choice, and we'll round it out with non-interference. Going back to the affirmation, I am transforming into bliss consciousness. I am choosing that I'm able to live a life that is blissful. I am saying that I know it's not only okay, it's fantastic to live a life of happiness and joy and peace. And I'm raising the vibrational frequency of my inner being and my whole being, in fact, to love, joy, and peace. I'm deciding to vibrate at that level. David Hawkins, again, I go back to David Hawkins, where he was mapping people's energy and aura, talked about how powerful emotions, feelings, even words can be on the human body. And one of the most powerful high-level frequencies is love, joy, and peace. They land in the 500s to 600 space. And so when you're vibrating, your life is vibrating at a 5 to 600 range on the energy scale, the Hawkins scale. You're affecting the world toward greater good, toward being a more loving, compassionate society. They've even done heart mapping, science heart mapping out, where people have gathered together in spaces, concentrated their love, joy, and peace on certain parts of the world, and watched violent crime come down, watched more of a peaceful awareness of the people. The people were affected directly. It's kind of like the butterfly effect I've mentioned multiple times. The butterfly flaps its wings in Africa, and over time, the wind that it caused even reaches to the other side of the planet. So the consciousness that we have, the power that we have, the power of the presence of God that we have within us, the way we are showing up in the world determines how the world experiences its emotions, its feelings, its way of thinking. We have the power within us to shift the cosmos, the cosmetic, the world that we live in. We have the power within us. The question is, are we using it? Now, to me, one of the best ways to start to use this power within you and really live with a solar plexus that's wide open is, number one, to live a life of authenticity. To me, when you start to embrace every part of who you are, and you don't hold back or have a feeling of apologizing for who you are, when you start to be honest with yourself, your true desires and what really matters to you, instead of being caught up in the act or the role. Again, I know I've been talking about this a lot. I want to continue to repeat these things until we get to the place where we're living these principles, because I believe they're available to us. If we're honest with ourselves about our true desires, what really matters to us, we begin to live an authentic life. I wrote this down. Existentialism teaches us that authenticity is all about aligning your actions, your thoughts, and your words with your values. Even when the world around you pressures you to fit in or to conform, existentialism teaches us that when we align our thoughts, our actions, our words with our values, we begin to lose the need to play the part of others because we're living authentically ourselves. We can then begin to stand tall in our uniqueness. We begin to shine our light the brightest because we're not afraid anymore of being our true and authentic self. There's a lot of things around us that are constantly wanting us to press our true self down. We are being pushed on every turn to really, honestly, to compromise who we are so that we can try to fit in. In religious circles, in political circles, in your school, in your social environment growing up, in your household, often, many of us were pressed and pressured to be someone other than our true self. But when you begin to stand tall in your uniqueness, you start to live an authentic life. I love how Abraham Maslow said, "Be independent of the good opinions of others." Bishop T.D. Jakes, years ago, I remember hearing him say this at a leadership conference in Atlanta. He actually said at that conference, he said, "What people say about you, good or bad, are only partly true." He said, what people say about you that's good, you're not as good as they say you are, and you're not as bad as they say you are. So just be yourself. I wish he'd take his own advice with that, and I ask us to take that advice and actually start to live that advice. Be your true and authentic self, and then you don't have to end up in a scandal. Be your true and authentic self, and you don't have to scandalize your life or trivialize your life. That's what it means to be authentic. And it doesn't mean that you don't allow other people's constructive criticisms to at least be heard, but don't let it be the bedrock of your decision making or your choices in life. Live a life that's authentic. Stop being worried about the opinion of other people, good, bad, or indifferent. Start living your life your way. Dr. Wayne Dyer said it this way, and we're in the Power of Awakening right now. He said, it's none of my business what other people think about me. It's none of my business what other people think about me. Again, I'm not saying that the people closest to me shouldn't have equity, and if I'm acting like a jerk, I should not just throw it off and say, no, that's just your conception or your perception of me. I mean, if enough people are telling me that I'm being a jerk, I need to consider at least listening to them. But I don't need to build my life around opinions. If you let go of the identity, the false construct that's been built by others, you start to live authentically in your identity. Let go of your reputation. Let me say it that way. Let go of your reputation, because it is always external from you. And as a result of that, you'll have space to hold your identity. So number one, authenticity keeps that solar plexus open and keeps it operating at maximum and optimum. And then number two, integrity. Now, when we think of integrity, a lot of times we think of people being honest or having a tremendous level of character. But let me speak to this just a moment, because to me, integrity is really a state of wholeness. It's not disjointed or distorted or living a life that's divided internally. To live with integrity is to live a life of wholeness, a life that's peaceful. It's living my truth. It's being honest and being clear with myself about myself first, and then I'm able to be completely clear, transparent, and honest with the world outside of me. I mean, take a moment to really understand that what matters most in your life. Take a moment to really understand what matters most to you. Live that core value, and you will be living with your own internal integrity. These values are guiding principles for us, the core values. I go back to the core values. For First Unity Spiritual Campus, our core values there are love, authenticity, curiosity, diversity, and service. Love, authenticity, curiosity, diversity, and service. Everything that we do needs to work within those core values, and if it doesn't, and this is the way that we hire and fire, I don't like using the term fire, but this is the way that we hire people, bring people on employment and release people from employment, is through these principles. And it doesn't mean that person's a bad person, they just may not fit with our core values. The same is true and should be true in your life. When you have a break in relationship, it doesn't have to be based on a judgment. It can just be based on core values, and that we don't fit together in this close of a proximity. And I'm not going to judge you, but I can tell you that this is not working. I think that's what it means in the Bible when it says don't be unequally yoked with an unbeliever. I like to say it this way: don't be deeply or intimately connected with someone who goes against your core values. Because that's what it means to live a life of integrity. It becomes the guiding principle of your life. And then you start to realize it's important to set boundaries. And what we have come to call boundaries and things that will not be compromised. I will not compromise love. I won't compromise my authenticity. I'm not going to compromise my curiosity, my openness, my diversity, or my service to the world. These are things I've chosen to live by. These are the things that I refuse to compromise. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Stay true to yourself. The old saying, to thine own self be true. Remember that it's okay, and I highly actually encourage it. It's okay to stand firm in your core values and prioritize for your life, your day-to-day life, what truly resonates with you. Your vibe then will reveal your tribe. Now, listen, you having a particular group of people that you hang out with doesn't mean that you're better than anyone else. So don't let the ego do that, because it'll cut your legs out from under you with that kind of an attitude as well. But for the peace of mind that I want to have, the joy that I want to have, there's a certain kind of type of showing up that I choose. I choose high vibration. I don't like gossip. I don't like beating other people up. I don't like running the people down behind their back. These are things that I don't like. And so for me, I have chosen a different type of vibration. And that vibe is now revealing my tribe. That openness that I have, this really liberty that I live in, that invites others who are living in that same vibrational frequency. And therefore I can stay within my integrity. And then, number 3, choice. I have the power to choose. Pat yourself on the chest and say, I have the power to choose. And I have 3 C words here I'd like to ask us into for just a few moments. Choice, chance, change. And I have something I want to share with you that hopefully I'll be able to communicate it in the way that I see it and feel it. You should make a choice to take a chance, or your life will never change. The solar plexus, when it's open and when it's clear, it gives to you a determination, a willpower, an ability. It's that sun power that you need to make choices, take chances, and as a result, make changes. Life is all about choices, the choices that we make. The choices I'm making in this present moment are going to affect every moment that follows. And I realize that there's no such thing as the future. There's only the present moment. So what choice am I making right here and right now? I'm choosing love. I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing peace. I'm choosing prosperity. I'm choosing abundance. I'm choosing health, wealth, and well-being. And every moment of decision shapes my pathway. It directly influences where I'm headed. In this life, at least, we're on a course, a road. We're on a pathway somewhere, and my decisions and my choices are directly affecting and shaping my pathway. The future isn't set in stone. In fact, it's not real. It's fluid. It's kind of like a river, and it flows. It changes. It has ripples in it. It's very fluid. But every choice that I make opens new doors, and it also closes other doors. And it gives me the power to steer the course that I'm on in this river. I get to decide at what part of the river I'm on. I'm working with the river, not against it, but I get to steer my way and decide what shores I will hook up to, where I'll get out and take some time on solid ground. Living my life 75-25 or 80-20 as I ministered years ago. 80% water, 20% solid. And I can steer the course with my decision making. When the solar plexus is clear and is fully engaged, you get to stand in your power. You get to stand in your fortitude. You get to stand in your own agency. You get to stand in your own grace and make the choices for the life that you want. Thornton Wilder wisely said this: the more decisions you face on your own, and there's the linchpin, the more decisions you make on your own, the more you realize how free you truly are to choose. Exercising your own choice gives you the ability to realize how free you are to choose. You stop second guessing yourself. You get your mama's voice out of your ear, your daddy's voice out of your ear, your auntie's voice out of your ear. You get the news media's voice out of your ear. You start making the choices that are uniquely yours. You start to embrace freedom. And listen, freedom, I know freedom can be exhilarating, exciting. It can also be daunting and scary. I'm aware of all of that. But it's the freedom that when we begin to exercise our choice, we start to operate at a high level of freedom, and we begin to have a unique journey that's uniquely ours. So here's something that I want to share with you. I choose to live my life by choice, not by chance. I choose to be motivated, not manipulated. I choose to be useful, not used. I choose to make changes, not excuses. I choose to excel, not compete. I choose self-esteem, not self-pity. I choose to listen to my inner voice and not to listen to the random opinions of others. I choose. And then lastly, non-interference. Now, after we've said all of this and we're working with the solar plexus and we're keeping it healthy, keeping it operating with that sun power, then there's this realm that we need to remember that we live in. When I can live authentically, I can live out of integrity, I can use my power of choice, I actually begin to naturally live a life of non-interference. Now, the ego doesn't like this part. The ego dislikes non-interference. The ego wants you to constantly be interfering, because when you're interfering with other people's lives, you're interfering with your opinions and judgments on others and other situations. When you're doing that, you're distracting yourself from your growth. And you distract yourself from building an authentic, integral, and a choice-filled life. And you start to give your power away to those other things by interfering. The practice of the Tao is about dropping something off every day, which gives you the ability to reduce the ego. It's about letting go of the need to interfere. It's about loosening your grip on things, and you lose the need to force things. In the Tao, it says, in pursuit of knowledge, every day something must be added. But the practice of the Tao is letting something go every day. Less and less do you need to force things until you arrive all of a sudden at non-action. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. And Lao Tzu said this, true mastery can be gained by letting things go their own way. It can't be gained by interfering. You see, I've decided to live an authentic, integral, powerful, there's my choice, life. I've decided to be authentically me and live my own integrity, making my own choices, my own decisions. And as a result of that, it's giving me the ability to master relationships. But here's the thing. I have a personal goal to master relationships, not to master people that I'm in a relationship with. I don't want to master the people I'm in a relationship with. I want to master the way in which I relate to them, the way in which I show up in my relationships, the way in which I relate to and am with others, because this human life is all about relationships, and I want to interrelate with other people in an integral and authentic way. I'm not interested in mastering other people. I want to master my reactions and my responses. I want to live a life that's not reactive and not a life that's very much responsible. I can choose the path of peace and non-interference in the life of other living beings. To me, that's a high level of integrity, high level of authenticity, and it's a powerful choice that I get to make. When you let go of the need to control other people that you're in a relationship or you're living life with, you find that you start to move through life with ease, with comfort, joy, and love. You start to find that you can manifest this beautiful, rich, and valuable life because you're not spending your energy trying to control other people. And while we're on that, when you're living a non-interference life, and an authentic life, an integral life with choices, making choices for yourself, you become less reactive and more responsive. You see, living a reactive life is letting other people and other circumstances set the agenda. Think about that for just a moment. Living a reactive life is giving the agenda to someone else or to something else. Do you want to give up the agenda of your life, your day-to-day list of how you live your life to other people? If you're reacting, that's what you're doing. When you realize that everything in your consciousness is part of the universe, therefore it's part of you, awakening to integration starts to happen. You then realize that you can't harm someone without harming yourself, because we're all one. And you start to live a life that's responsible as a result. In relationship, desire the greater good for the other, and you will always have it for yourself. That's living a true life of authenticity and integrity. That's living a life that is free of the good opinions of others. That's living a choice-filled, will-powered life. And then you're not tied down. You're not a slave to any of the other individuals you come in contact with. And your solar plexus will thank you for that. Your solar plexus will be wide open and operating in such beautiful power. When you use your energy for your own inner world and your own destiny, when you use your own energy for your own destiny, you find that you manifest the life you truly, truly want. So right here and right now, I choose this life vision. Number one, I know that my true measure of success is joy. Number two, being prosperous is normal. Number three, waking up is a constant process. Number four, my reality is created by my awareness. Number five, life is truly a wonderful field of possibilities. Number six, every day should bring more fulfillment and joy. Number seven, effort and struggle are unnecessary. And number eight, there is a pathway away from pain and suffering. I choose that pathway. I choose that pathway. So the solar plexus is open for business, giving to you the power of your physical health, your willpower, your determination, successful activity. You're governing your personality. You're governing your ego. You're governing, overseeing all of these identities and roles that we tend to play, as well as your personal freedom of choice and your own authenticity. Today, let the solar plexus be open. Concentrate this next week on that solar plexus being open so that you can live authenticity, integrity, choice, and non-interference. And see if this adds to or takes away from the quality of your life. I love you all, my friends. I want to say thank you for being here today. Remember, this week we're going to be spending our meditations on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll be spending our meditations in the solar plexus. I'm also sharing with you a series right now, Midweek Connection, that's dealing with awakening and authentic awakening and what that looks like, so that we can not just awaken for 2 or 3 years and all of a sudden be lulled back to sleep like it's some kind of a drug or something, but that we can make it a more permanent thing. And what we practice may not become perfect, but it does become permanent. So how can we sort of have a permanence? And I don't mean that we stop. I just mean that we make a solid foundation for the space we get to as we awaken, so that the next awakening can build on it instead of trying to build back from a collapse. I believe we have the ability to do that. So I encourage you to join for all 4 of those events coming up this week. And that is morning meditations Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then, of course, Midweek Connection on Wednesday evening. Folks, now is the time to give. Now is the time to tithe or to give an offering to this ministry. The ways to give are on the screen on the way out. I'm looking for some more folks today to sign up and say, I'll give $50 a month. I'll give $25 a month. I'll give $100 a month. I'll give $500 a month. Whatever may be laid on your heart. Give to this ministry, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall others give to you. If this is bringing you spiritual nutrition, I encourage you to give, because it's an exchange. You start to exercise the power and the law of circulation in your life. When you give, it shall be given unto you. That's the nature of things. You're going to get back what you put out. So I encourage you to give to this ministry. It's a nonprofit organization, so it's a non-taxable gift. You will get a letter at the end of the year for your contributions. And I want to say to you, thank you. For those who already are sustaining partners, for those who are deciding today to do that, thank you for your willingness to give. Okay, I'm getting ready to get up out of here because the music's getting started. Now go and make it a great week.